What is Reiki? What does it feel like? What is it used for? Can it heal me? All these questions I get quite a bit as a Reiki practitioner. And a lot of my clients have never had Reiki before they come to me. And so I'm so happy to answer these questions. So I thought, let's just do a little FAQ today and help you guys out if you have the same questions. I'm Brandy Fleck. I'm a Reiki healer, a certified trauma-informed coach, and host of the Human Amplified podcast. Human Amplified is this channel on YouTube, and there are a lot of resources on it that help you be your true self, live in your authenticity, live an aligned life. So be sure to subscribe and browse around for other things that may help you or pique your curiosity. And now we'll get into the FAQs. So if you were a client coming to me for the first time and you wanted to know what Reiki was, I would tell you it's life force energy. It animates all things. It's in everything, from even inanimate objects can have Reiki, from rocks to food to plants to animals and us. We all have Reiki. It is energy from Creator themselves, and it's very healing, gentle energy. It's quite miraculous, honestly. And so you can think of your body like a car. You can think of your Reiki like the battery. And then you can think of me, the practitioner, as the jumper cables. So if you come to me or any other Reiki practitioner, probably, I'm going to get your energy moving. I'm going to get it flowing. And eventually we're going to get it balanced if it needs to be balanced. And we're going to do that by removing energetic blockages. They can be put there by emotional, mental, physical struggles, or those blockages can create physical struggles. It can happen in a lot of different ways, but we're going to remove the blockages to balance that energy so that you can have more vitality, you can feel more balanced, you can feel calmer, more relaxed, and not so anxious, not so afraid, and just really not imbalanced, right? Reiki flows where it needs to go. So if you come into a session and you have an intention, which that's great. I always encourage people to tell me what their intentions are, what they need help with, because it's good to know where to focus. However, if, say, you come in and you are having massive amounts of shoulder pain and heaviness, and say massage is not helping it, you just can't seem to shake it, talk therapy is not helping it, you just can't get to the bottom of whatever it is, all your tests are coming back normal, and now you want to try Reiki, we're going to focus extra time where that pain is. But at the same time, if the root of the issue is a blocked throat chakra, for example, say you do not let yourself speak freely, and therefore you do not have a lot of expression around who you are, and a blockage has been created, and so the energy is backing up in your shoulders and causing pain, then what Reiki is going to do is first go to the root of that wound. Why do you have a blocked throat chakra that's backing up energy here? Perhaps it's because you never had a stable foundation where you were supported in who you actually are, right? So even if we focus here, the Reiki is going to go to the sacral or the root chakra first and try to clear that blockage before we then can come up here. So, right, this is why it might take more than one session to become completely balanced, to work on your healing. Also, healing is a process, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It's not instantaneous. It's something that you're probably going to be doing for the rest of your life. And that's a good thing. When I say healing, I mean regenerating, coming back to equilibrium every single time your body goes off balance. And there are so many things that knock us off of our balance throughout life, and that's just the way life is. But because we are self-healing beings and our bodies are so miraculously made, we can heal that by coming back to our center and becoming who we are, right? So healing's not a bad thing. Healing for the rest of your life is not a bad thing. It's about regeneration. It's about restabilizing, and it's just a natural part of existing, okay? But if you have really deep wounds, some of these blockages are going to be harder to clear than others. So I like to tell clients, Reiki flows a lot like water too. So, say if one of these blockages was built over years and years and years, and it's more like a brick wall, it's going to take multiple sessions to wear its way through that brick wall. If you, say, have a new wound or something that you need to rebalance that's kind of light, might be more like a sandbar, we might be able to push through in one session. And this brings me to, as the Reiki practitioner, as the healer, I'm not going to take credit for actually healing you. You are healing yourself with the support of Reiki energy. And what that means is that Reiki relaxes you so much that then your body is able to take over its normal healing processes that it was meant to do in its miraculous way. So research shows that Reiki actually shifts your nervous system from fight or flight into rest and digest. So a lot of times in sessions, I can hear my clients' stomachs gurgling and start moving. And then a lot of times they'll go to the bathroom more the day they had the session than otherwise. So I've had so many people tell me, "Oh my God, you helped my constipation," or whatever. And that's a normal part of it, because listen, if your body is always activated and it's in like the sympathetic part of your nervous system, the fight or flight, your body is diverting resources to run from that tiger, right? So your digestion, it's not like necessary to get away from a tiger. So it's going to divert blood and oxygen and all and energy away from that process into your limbs and other things. And so if you're always operating at like an elevated stress level, your digestion might not be that good because your body's not flowing resources into it. So Reiki, which the same research shows is more than just a placebo, it's actually shifting you into rest and digest. It's bringing that stress level down. It's putting you into a state of relaxation and calm so that your body actually can stop diverting resources to unnecessary running away from the tiger, right? Like your body gets a break. Other vital functions of your body that should exist outside of stressful situations get to have a moment, okay? And our bodies aren't designed to live in a state of chronic stress. Lots of dis-ease and ailments happen if you live in a state of chronic stress. It creates trauma for the body. And if you go too long without your other bodily processes being able to function normally and flow freely, you're going to have some blockages. You're going to end up with things you need to clear out. So this brings me to, people always want to know what it feels like when they're receiving Reiki. And so it's different for everybody, and it actually differs from practitioner to practitioner, I have found too. But if you're in a Reiki session with me, what happens is we'll go into the session. You'll lay down on the massage table. And if it's your first session, I'll probably ask you to lay face up. And if it is a subsequent session, you might start face down, or we'll just see how it flows in the session and see if we need to swap it up about halfway through or whatever. And you get the choice to be under the blanket or over the blanket. People ask me what I prefer, and honestly, it's okay. Either way, it's totally okay. I want you to be the most comfortable you can possibly be. But at the same time, if I do have a choice, I always choose for you to be over the blanket so that I can see the reactions in your body and I can better feel the reactions in your body. I can feel them anyways, but sometimes it's really helpful to see what parts of your body are twitching. And also, interesting side note, even if you're under the blanket, I can sometimes see your energetic body moving in different ways. So like your foot will be lying on the table, and if energy is starting to flow and wake something up in that area of the body that's been asleep for a long time, I will literally see your energetic body kick like far up in the air, even though your foot is barely moving in the physical world. But anyways, now back to what it feels like. I get really excited about this stuff, so I'm skipping around a little bit, but once you are comfortable and you are in the session, I'm going to start laying my hands very gently on different energy centers in your body and on different organs and different areas of the body, just based on where my hands are pulled to intuitively. I always ask for consent to do this. And if you don't want to touch certain parts of your body or it's uncomfortable for you, like some people have triggers around their throat area, or if I need to work on your heart chakra and you might not want me to put my hand on a certain place on your chest, people always have the choice to tell me that, and I can hover as opposed to place my hands. But I do practice hands on. And now, when I do this, you could feel heat, tingling. Sometimes people feel itchiness under their skin that feels like an itch they can't scratch. And it all means different things. Sometimes people feel pulsing. Sometimes they feel like they are floating. They don't even feel the table they're lying on. And other times, and I love when this happens, clients will tell me that they feel like I'm an octopus and that I have like 8 hands touching different parts of their body and that they didn't even know I had moved my hands until they felt me touch another part of their body, which is really cool. And I'll tell you why that happens in a little bit. So you could be feeling all these things. Also, you could have visions. You could have memories pop up out of nowhere that you hadn't thought about in forever. You could see colors. You could feel sensations in different parts of your body, even when I'm not touching them. Sometimes, though, people don't feel anything, and other times people fall asleep. And I say it all belongs because whatever happens in that session, I trust that it's what you needed. It's what your body needed in order to start the healing process, the balancing process. Now, while all of this happens, you are typically in a deep meditative state. Sometimes I have clients that it takes a little while for them to calm their minds when we're in the session, and that's okay too. But you're in a meditative state. I typically have music playing and I'm moving around your body. If it's your first session, I will start out balancing your main chakras and then I will go out to different parts of your body depending on what we're working toward. Then, people always want to know what's going to happen after the session. So, Reiki doesn't typically have side effects, and if it does, they're very gentle. So, I never really worry about that. However, when you're going through a natural healing process, you start to detox things. If your body finally slows down and lets you start dissolving those stress hormones, you're going to feel some detox action, right? You're going to feel maybe a little irritable. You're going to feel like you're processing things that haven't been processed. You're going to have realizations and things are going to integrate over maybe like up to a week after the session. But if you just came in to relax and you're not detoxing deep trauma or something like that that's leaving your body, you might not have anything come up after the session. You could, it's a highly spiritual experience for a lot of people. And so you could have more vivid dreams. You could have, going back to the detox thing, you could have mood swings. You could have emotional release that you don't normally have. And like I said earlier, you could go to the bathroom more. All of these things are normal and a natural part of healing and connecting more deeply with yourself and your spirituality. And so if those things happen after a session, give yourself grace. Be gentle with yourself. Rest if you can afford to rest, and let these things integrate after the session. Make sure that if you go to a Reiki session, always drink plenty of water after the fact, okay? Because that's going to help any detox action that comes up. Another thing that people ask me when I talk to them about this is that, am I going to be able to tell if they're having detox action or if we've broken through a block or anything like that? And the interesting thing is yes. Yes, I can tell when things are happening in a session. I can physically feel them. Some people are more clairvoyant than I am at this point, but I feel physical sensations in my body very strongly when I'm in a Reiki session and I am tuned into your energy. So if somebody has a throat chakra issue, I will immediately just get heat right here in my throat area. And I'll know that we need to spend some time there. Or I will call in guides and ask them to guide where my hands need to go to alleviate that. Because sometimes just because the blockage is here, like I said earlier, doesn't mean that we need to focus here. We need to focus somewhere else so that the energy can flow and get through that. So this brings me to why it feels like I'm an octopus in a session sometimes, is because when I'm in a session, and this might sound crazy to some people, but it's really not. Your guides are there with me. My guides are there with me. Our angels are there with us, and they are talking to us. They are assisting in the process. And sometimes they will tell me where to put my hands, and other times I will ask them to put their light body hands somewhere on you. Sometimes they will just go and do it, and I'm doing my work and they're doing theirs, and we sort of co-create what's happening in this session. I will also pay attention to what's happening in your light body as I'm working, and that can inform where to go or where I call in assistance for. Guides that I know for a fact have been in sessions before, like the other day I had a session with someone who's doing a lot of deep trauma healing, and there were 6 guides in there with us, and I didn't recognize any of them. I don't know who they are. I just know that they were her guides, and they were assisting. In another session, oh my gosh, it was so great. It was a prenatal Reiki session, which there were hundreds of spirit ancestors and everybody just standing around us. And it was like so celebratory. And they were like, this is your first prenatal session. We're going to let you do this on your own. And we're just going to stand back and watch and spectate and be so happy. And it was like the most amazing, miraculous gift of an experience that I was able to have, that all of our spirit ancestors were there just celebrating and spectating with us. That was really cool. When I've been working on grief with people who are mourning passed on loved ones, Archangel Azrael has come into a session. And then just the other day, Kathumi was in a session with me, and it was literally just Kathumi and myself working in tandem on the person who was on the table. And something else that happened the other day, that's the first time this has happened for me in a session for one of my clients, is while I am placing my hands on certain areas, I will see visions of certain things happening. And so, especially when I'm working in the feet area, I am consciously grounding the energy of the person. I am directing it down into the earth and then asking for earth energy to come back up into the body and help ground any of the divine energy that's downloaded during the session, help ground anything that just needs to be more down to earth in order for healing to happen. And I saw these roots sort of grow from my client's feet and go into the ground. And as soon as I asked Gaia to send earth energy back up, instantaneously, this client had a coughing fit. And I mean, like after the session, she said it just came out of nowhere. Nowhere. She hadn't been coughing before. She didn't have allergies going on that day. Like literally, she released something and it was wild. It came out just like out of her body. And so then I had her flip over, asked her if she was okay, asked if she needed a tissue. She was fine. It was crazy. And after the session too, she told me that she had a realization, like a massive realization about a certain relationship that she needed to do something in, let go of something in. And I won't divulge all the details, but like it coincided with that expulsion from her body. And so after she turned over, I saw this like energetic being that was like, bleh, like chaos on top of her. And I basically just asked the angels to come take it, transmute it, and get it out of here. It doesn't belong here with us anymore, and it can go. And it went, and it was gone. Okay. And then I cleared the room afterwards, and I felt really good about it. Okay. And I feel like she's going to make some changes. So I'm going to see her again, and we're going to see what's happened since that release. So there are things that happen that indicate a release, but back to the sensations in my body, right? Like, okay, not everything is that obvious or that physical for the person in the session. And I can feel in my hands if detox action is happening. So I know that Reiki energy is flowing because in the session, when I connect with you, it'll move my body a little bit. I'll wave a little bit. My hands could pulse. They definitely tingle when the energy is moving, and I kind of float like I'm in just calm yet moving live waters. Okay. And if energy is not flowing because there's a blockage, I will oftentimes notice that that part in the body is cold. If energy is blown out or flowing too much, I will notice that the energy is really hot. Also, if we break through and the energy starts flowing, I'll feel tingling. And if there is something detoxing from you, I will feel an itching deep in the palms of my hands. And also, I made a short about this a couple of days ago, probably like a couple of weeks ago at this point. But I definitely also know that energy is like moving really fast. If I start to burp a lot in a session, that air always wants to come up if the energy is moving. There are other indicators. I'm in the process of still kind of cataloging them all for my own reference, my own Reiki practice, but I think that covers everything. It covers all the questions that people usually have about what happens before, during, and after a Reiki session, what they experience, what I experience, and what they need to do after. It's different for everybody. Some people are more open to it than not. Oh, and the other day somebody asked me what could help them be more open to it so that they have a more successful session. And I think the answer to that is to consent to receiving the Reiki. Even if you're a little standoffish or skeptical about it, if you say, I consent to receiving this energy healing, I think it just helps your mind, body, and spirit receive it a little easier. One other thing too is a lot of times people will ask me what I picked up on during a session and things like that. I do take notes about everything that I pick up on during the session. I don't always tell everybody every single thing I experience during the session because it's not always pertinent to their healing, right? Like if I'm having psychic hits as a practitioner, I need to know when that's appropriate to talk about and when it's not. And if somebody wants to know about that, I am more than happy to tell them. However, that does not mean that a Reiki session is a psychic reading. It's not. I'm picking up on energies and I'm trying to be a clear channel for those energies, but sometimes I will speak my experience of the energies through the lens of me and my experience, right? And so it could resonate or it could not. Now, there are certain parts of the body in the like Chinese medicine that the Usui Reiki that I practice is based on that represent divine feminine versus divine masculine. And then divine masculine and feminine represent certain things too, like giving, receiving, nurturing versus taking action, the past versus the present or the future, and things like that. And so based on where you're experiencing certain things in your body, I can get intuitive impressions on like a very big picture, energetic idea of what's happening, or maybe a little inkling of what your next step should be after a session. And I'm always more than happy to share that information with you if you want it. Some people don't, and that's okay too. Sometimes they just want to come into the session and relax, and that is totally okay. So, if you have any other questions that you can think of about Reiki, what happens in a session and whatnot, let me know. Drop them in the comments. I'm more than happy to keep answering your questions. And until next time,